This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2066. Should you get a car loan to improve your credit score? Heck no, by Paula Pant of AffordAnything.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now let's get right to it as we optimize your life. Should you get a car loan to improve your credit score? Heck no, by Paula Pant of AffordAnything.com. One reader asks, I'm young, 23, and my fiance and I are looking at getting her a used car to replace her old clunker. We're looking at the $6,000 to $10,000 range and easily have the cash to pay for the car. This is separate from our emergency fund. We both have 401ks, etc. I'm a fan of the pay cash option. I'm a big hater on debt, and neither of us have college debt. She has heard that to build credit for a mortgage in the future, we should take out a car loan. We've both had credit cards, never missed payments, but neither of us have ever had a loan in our name. Thoughts? Spencer. Dear Spencer, you've never had a loan in your name? Wrong. Your credit card is a loan, so to speak. It's an open line of credit. It's one that you've used responsibly for years. It forms the backbone of your credit history. By focusing on your credit card alone, you can build excellent credit. Getting a car loan to improve your credit score is a waste of time and money. In this article, I'm going to explain the 5 factors that comprise your credit score and show you how 90% of your score is comprised of factors that don't rely on an auto loan. By the way, I've never had a car loan, and my FICO credit score is 841. Why is this important? Because my 841 credit score allows me to qualify for the best loans on the market. How is this possible? How did I create this credit score without a car loan? I understand the factors that build credit. You'll hear more on this soon. And I focus on improving those factors based only on responsible credit card use. I pay the balance in full, and I've spent $0 in credit card interest over my lifetime. Keep listening for details about how you can create an 800 plus credit score. Why a car loan to improve your credit score is a waste of money. Your credit score is based on 5 factors. Number 1, payment history. Do you make on-time payments? Have you ever been late in making a payment? If so, how late? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? This is the single most critical factor. It accounts for 35% of your total credit score. Number 2, utilization ratio. How large is your outstanding balance relative to your total credit limit? Outstanding balance is how much you owe, and total credit limit is the maximum you're allowed to borrow. Ideally, you should use 20% or less of your total credit limit. In other words, if you have a $1,000 credit limit, you should borrow no more than $200 per month. Here's the kicker. This rule applies even if you pay the balance in full each month. If you have a $1,000 credit limit and you rack up a $700 balance, you'll be seen as someone who uses 70% of their total credit limit, even if you pay in full at the end of the month. Best practices. Ask for a higher credit limit. Charge smaller amounts, or my personal favorite, pay off your cards weekly instead of monthly. Your utilization ratio counts for 30% of your total score. Number 3, length of credit history. How old are your accounts? The older, the better, which is why you shouldn't close old credit cards even if you're not using them. Getting a new credit account, such as getting a car loan, could hurt your score by reducing the average age of your accounts. Best practice? Keep your oldest accounts alive. If you don't use that credit card anymore, that is, perhaps you get better rewards from a different card, keep the account active by making a small monthly purchase, like your Netflix subscription, on your old credit card. Automatically pay the bill so you never miss a payment. This constitutes 15% of your credit score. Number 4, new credit. No one likes a desperate fellow. The more you apply for credit, especially in a short amount of time, the more your score drops. Credit agencies interpret this as a sign that you're desperate for funds. Why else would you be asking for credit? And like in dating, desperation is a turnoff. applying for a car loan can hurt you if you're getting a mortgage soon. Best practice: avoid applying for credit, such as car loans and credit cards, within 6 to 12 months of applying for a mortgage. This affects 10% of your score. And number 5, types of credit in use. Okay, here's where we can make the get a car loan argument. There are 2 types of credit: installment credit, where you make fixed regular monthly payments. Examples: car loans, mortgages, student loans. And revolving credit. You have an open line of credit with fluctuating balances and payments. Examples: credit cards. Credit scoring agencies view installment credit more favorably than revolving credit. This is where the getting a car loan improves your credit score myth comes from. But the type of credit you use, installment versus revolving, counts for only 10% of your total credit score. That's not significant enough to justify getting a car loan, especially when you consider that your credit score will suffer when you apply for a new line of credit and reduce your average account age. The other 4 factors constitute 90% of your score. Focus on those. Bottom line: a car loan will do more harm than good, especially if you already have good credit. The best way to build credit is to maintain 1 or 2 credit cards. The older, the better. Pay your cards in full every month or every week, as I do. Never, ever, ever be late on a payment, like ever. Easiest way to do this: automatic payments. And keep your utilization ratio under 20%. Easiest way to do this: pay in full weekly. You just listened to the post titled, "Should You Get a Car Loan to Improve Your Credit Score? Heck No," by Paula Pant of AffordAnything.com. I totally agree with Paula here. If you want to build credit, do it with the responsible use of credit cards where you never pay interest versus an installment loan where interest is baked in. In general, I wouldn't take a loan on a depreciating asset. I think there could be a strong case to take on a mortgage and even student loans, though I would be very careful here. But a car? No way. I bought my 2010 Mazda 3 over 4 years ago for $6,000 cash, and it had 80,000 miles on it at the time. I recently bought a new battery and changed out the spark plugs, but aside from routine oil changes, the only other real expense I've had with my car are a few minor issues with my tires that were easily fixed. While there are costs to maintain any car, I think the key inflection point where you're going to save the most money is at the time you're buying the car. I've heard that many people buy new cars because they're looking for something reliable, but in my experience, you can easily check this box with a used car. And because a car is a quickly depreciating asset, it was important to me to spend as little as possible on something that would last me a very long time. When I was picking a car, I consulted a list of makes and models that were recommended by Mr. Money Mustache. He states that the key to finding a reliable car is to throw away all the anecdotal personal stories that you might have heard and look to a source that actually collects this data from thousands of people. He built his list after reviewing data from Consumer Reports magazine and Phil Edmondson's Lemonade Used Car Guide. Also, when I was buying the car, I got permission to bring it to a mechanic friend who looked it over and made sure I was buying one in good shape. While I may have gotten lucky with my car thus far, I bought a good quality car for the lowest price possible, and that was a sound financial decision. And that will do it for today. Have a great day and rest of your weekend. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back in just a moment with our weekly bonus episode. So stay tuned for that, where your optimal life awaits.